ongoing cultural conversations to question the universal norm of monogamous love, just as we previously created space to question the universal norm of hetero love. Just having the words to describe something is an important first step in opening up that space. A word for honest, non-monogamous, loving relationships, polyamory, came into circulation during the late 20th century. Since the 1990s, the internet has also greatly facilitated the exploration of polyamory and other forms of ethical non-monogamy, as distinct from cheating and other unethical behaviors. This has made it infinitely easier for those who wanted to explore non-monogamy to find like-minded partners, communities, and information. Over the same period, researchers have begun to work on understanding the stigma attached to violations of the monogamy norm, while activists and advocates have begun to work on ending that stigma and providing practical information and support to people whose families or jobs are at risk because of prejudice surrounding their non-monogamous relationships. One can track the effects of all of this in various cultural barometers. Dan Savage, one of the world's most famous and controversial sex and relationship advice columnists, is one such barometer. Over the last few years, Savage has started to take the possibility of mature, successful, non-monogamous romantic love very seriously, having previously been something of a doubting Thomas on the question of whether people in poly marriages ever made it to their third anniversary. Themes and questions related to modern polyamory have also started to appear at the more thoughtful end of mass media. In the Spike Jonze movie Her, for instance, a computer operating system claims to be in love with 641 people. She attempts to explain to one human lover that the heart's not like a box that gets filled up, it expands in size the more you love. It's too early to say where this conversation will go. I think romantic love might expand to include non-monogamous love as part of a general trend towards greater inclusion. It's not that a norm of non-monogamy would replace the norm of monogamy, any more than a norm of non-heterosexuality is replacing the norm of heterosexuality. Rather, the scope of what counts as romantic love would become more inclusive. But I don't see this future as a done deal. It's not even as close to being a done deal as the inclusion of non-hetero love. And all this means that I am unsure whether non-monogamous love is really romantic love, whether being in love in that sense with two people is really possible here and now. I think love can make room for non-monogamy. But of course, I am biased. Then again, everyone is biased. Perhaps it would be safer to say that I hope love can make room for non-monogamy. A more inclusive picture of love would make better sense of what's happened in my own life than the image I grew up with, which made romantic love the property of straight monogamous couples only. In any case, I am prepared to bet that, from a biological perspective, what's happening in my brain looks the way romantic love is supposed to look. In fact, it's partly for that reason that I think romantic love could accommodate non-monogamous love. Romantic love has a long history of breaking free from social constraints, and biology has played a part in that. But the interplay between love's constraints and its freedoms is complicated, as is the interplay between love's biology and its social profile. On those mornings walking home, I came to realize that in order to understand whether I was in love or not, I'd have to work on untangling some of these complications. I couldn't think of a better approach to the problem than to search for an answer to the philosophical question, what is romantic love? This is what I meant when I said philosophy doesn't let me take the easy way out. My efforts developed into this audiobook, but the project quickly outgrew its original purpose of helping me figure out whether I was in love. It has ended up being all kinds of other things I never anticipated. This isn't an audio program about non-monogamy per se, although it sprang partly from questions I have about that. Love turns out to be philosophically fascinating for all kinds of reasons I could never have imagined. This is a short audiobook, but even so, it'll take us into the realms of medicine, magic, queerness, wisdom, dopamine, gender, romance, rainbows, rationality, Sappho, soulmates, politics, and of course, human nature. Buckle up. Eventually, this audiobook became an exploration of possibility. What love could be, not just what it is. I ended up with a theory that makes romantic love partly, but not entirely, a social construct. The social aspect of romantic love changes over time, but social change is often slow, especially when it comes to something so invested with value and significance.